So as I'm sure you're all aware, ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago it was International Women's Day. Now this is obviously the day where we all come together to celebrate how far women have come over time and talk about all their achievements. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't subscribe to these international days regardless if it's International Women's Day or International Men's Day, because these days, if we're honest with each other here, aren't singular days any longer. They are 365 days. I'm not trying to discredit anybody's achievements, but we celebrate people every single day. You only have to look at Non-Binary People's Day, which is on July 14th, to see where I'm coming from, because we know that is not one day, that is 365 days.
I shouldn't have said that.
And whilst I have that opinion, and many of you could disagree with me, you're more than welcome to, I still recognize there is a big issue because it is a big talking point on this channel. As far as I know, International Women's Day is solely meant for women, strictly women. But we're in a time right now where a man watching right now could identify as a woman, suddenly decide, yeah, you know what, guys, I'm a woman, and that is the truth, the individual truth. But does that make him then qualified to celebrate International Women's Day and talk about the struggles like he lived through them? Yeah, I understand your pain, ladies. Obviously not. We would all say no. But brands, corporations, establishments, entities, they all feel very differently. And if you were paying attention to what was going on International Women's Day, you would see how these people truly feel about women. See, we were all told, or women were all told, that these people were on your side. But as we go further into the future, aren't they just trying to erase you? And let's just start with one of the most powerful, influential establishments of them all, the White House. They celebrated International Women's Day, and oh, how did they celebrate it? Well, you know, they ended up giving an International Women of Courage award to a biological dude. They gave it to a man. Let that sink in for a bit. The New York Post have published an article that goes on to say, the White House has been dragged for honoring a trans woman on International Women's Day. Critics have accused the White House of diminishing women by honoring a biological man on International Women's Day. Alba Rueda, I believe their name is, a transgender woman who serves as Argentina's special envoy for sexual orientation and gender identity, was presented with an International Women of Courage award at a ceremony hosted by First Lady Jill Biden and Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Wednesday. The 17th annual event honored a group of 11 extraordinary women from around the world who are working to build a brighter future for all, the Department of State said in a press release. And that right there should annoy every single woman. It annoys me. The crazier part is, we all know this, there'll be SEALs out there clapping away, men and women, not really realizing what they're clapping for. The White House have just said out loud to everybody across the world, regardless of what this man has achieved, he's just as much of a woman than every single woman watching right now. So much so, let's get him on stage and hand him an award on International Women's Day. You have to realize, right, men have been through this as well. They're raised men. They feminize men. There is everything to do with being a man, which is why I actually think a lot of these situations happen, and it was purposely done. The feminization of men was purposely done. We went through this stage of feminizing men, so much so to the point where we were trying to normalize men wearing skirts, men wearing makeup, painting their nails. Was this not the next stage when everybody was celebrating the feminization of men? It's okay, guys, be more feminine. We want you to express your feminine side. Was this not the next stage? Because when you heavily push for something, it gets to a point where over time, more and more men actually think they're women. I think that's a big reason as to why these situations happen. And if women want to speak out, well, you're a TERF. If you don't like the fact men can have awards, walk into your toilets, and you want to speak out, well, you're a TERF now. And if men want to speak out, if a man wants to speak out, what happens? Of course, it's a straight male speaking out. Or if he speaks out to people around him, they'll tell him, you can't be saying that, mate. It's 2023, and what happens? Okay, I'm sorry, I won't say it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you think my theory behind all of this happening is true? Is there some truth to that? I'd like to hear your opinions. But let's just see Dr. Jill Biden handing out this award to this man.
In Argentina, Alba Rueda is a transgender woman who was kicked out of classrooms, barred for sitting for exams, refused job opportunities, subjected to violence, and rejected by her family. But in the face of these challenges, she worked to end violence and discrimination against the LGBTQI+ community in Argentina.
Look, I would like to think not every woman on that stage agreed with it. I hope there's some woman on that stage who sees what's going on And I know I said it's very hard for women to speak out because they get branded all of these things, they get cancelled, etc., but it's so bizarre to me nobody reacted to that on stage. You know, nobody wanted to say anything. And if the Democrats get in again in 2024, is it not going to get worse? This is the agenda they push. Over time, it is going to get worse. And it's not only the White House pushing this. It's not only the US government right now pushing this. It's the Canadian government too. I don't know if you saw Justin Trudeau's tweet over International Women's Day, but it's absolutely insane. His first one goes on to say, when women and girls are empowered, entire families, communities, and societies succeed. So today, as we mark International Women's Day 2023 and celebrate the incredible women and girls in our lives, let's keep working to build a more equal and equitable future. His next tweet completely contradicts that. And with a disturbing rise in anti-transgender hate here in Canada and around the world recently, I want to be very clear about one more thing. We will always stand up to this hate whenever and wherever it occurs. But again, this should annoy every single woman and man watching right now. Justin Trudeau has basically said, hey look, women, we understand men can become women and we can't dispute that. There's no dispute in that. And if you speak out against it, it's anti-transgender hate. This is the position we're in right now. But what about brands and corporations? A very interesting one. We recently covered a brand corporation invalidating women, Hershey's Canada. For their campaign, they decided on International Women's Day, not only are we going to include pronouns on chocolate wrappers, listen guys, it's not only a thing for your Instagram bios now, they decided to put a biological man as one of the faces of International Women's Day. I can imagine the boardroom now. Let's do this, guys. It's not going to annoy anybody across the world. It's not going to annoy women. This is actually so static, so brave. And in that boardroom, they just probably started crying. Faye Johnstone, a 27-year-old transgender woman, was selected to be one of the faces of International Women's Day for Hershey's Canada. And this is the lovely ad campaign they produced, sent out for everybody to see. Enjoy.
My name is Faye Johnstone. I'm the Executive Director of Wisdom to Action. We can create a world where everyone is able to live in public space as their honest and authentic selves. See the women changing how we see the future at Hershey's Canada.
It literally just doesn't make any sense. Like, imagine this. Imagine if I was on stage with other men and we were talking about our issues with our bodies, our health issues, and a woman who now thinks they're a man comes on stage and thinks, yeah, you know what, guys? I fully understand what you're going through. I understand it all. Let me be one of the voices to speak out for you. But these companies don't really care at this point, let's be honest, because it's all sunshine and rainbows. But for our final part of this video, as you've seen by the thumbnail, we could not help but mention JDhillon Mulvaney because he too could not help himself. And brands and corporations are tied to this one as well because they're the ones giving him the free clothes, the free makeup, etc., whilst women out there are struggling to pay their bills, struggling to raise their kids, financial issues. No, don't worry about that one. Let's push this agenda. Let's not help real women. And social media companies push it as well, especially TikTok. TikToks that are pushed to influence the direction of society and how people think. And JDhillon Mulvaney is the greatest example of that. He is one of the most popular TikTokers out there. 10 million followers. He has shown that you can pretend to be a woman, you can claim to be a woman, you can mock women for a short amount of time. And in that short amount of time, he has highly disrespected women. But with that, you can do that and you get more opportunities, more money than actual women. In fact, you get invited to the White House. So obviously he felt obliged to talk about International Women's Day because why would he not? I'm sure his TikTok audience was sat there eagerly to hear a man talk about International Women's Day. Take a listen.
It's day 360 of being a woman, and it's my first International Women's Day. And I feel a lot more comfortable calling myself a woman than I did in those early days. And I'm definitely in my womanhood now, not just my girlhood. And I'm just really honored to be grouped with all you women out there because you are my favorite humans on this planet. And I wore a pantsuit to celebrate. What do we think? I love it. But I just hope you sleep well, and I love you so much, and I care about you. Okay, I love you. Bye.
My first International Women's Day. I'm so happy to be grouped with you all. You are all my favorite humans. Because he's done so much for women. You know, for the days he has pretended to be a girl, all he has done is negatively affect women. But this is the guy they push. It's very strange how that happens, isn't it? It's almost like it's purposely done. But you know, men being happy about International Women's Day, celebrating it, I could be part of it. What more could we really expect? I really do feel sorry for people, I really do, because we are all in a tough spot right now. And imagine what next year's International Women's Day is going to be like. I feel like they were just scratching the surface with this one. Next year, oh, it's going to be a lot worse. I don't even know if I'll be here next year, because this video will probably get taken down because they don't actually like you thinking this way. You know, we've spoken about some very powerful people, and not the White House or Justin Trudeau and JDhillon Mulvaney. But I wouldn't be surprised if this got taken down, because everybody has to believe a certain thing. We all have to go down the same route. And if somebody comes out with a video or questions it, well, they can't be allowed to speak their mind. It's just more sad when you start to think about it, right? But what are your opinions, ladies and gentlemen, on this year's International Women's Day? What do you think about JDhillon Mulvaney taking part in International Women's Day? What do you think about the Hershey's campaign? What do you think about Justin Trudeau's tweet? What do you think about the White House and the stunts they pulled? Look how many people, groups of people we just mentioned. But until next time, it has been your boy JD. Please, for me, make sure to always, always have a great day and stay safe. Until the next episode, I'm out. Peace. If there is a next episode, I highly expect this one to be taken down.